Okay.
It's a crazy world. And so since it's
We are
crazy,
live.
here we go.
This is True OF Entertainment.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Rode Woods who feels the need to call himself Rob Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
Hey, we are back and live and all that fun stuff. It's exciting. Here we is.
Doo-doo-doom, doo-doom, doo-doo-doo-doom. I love that tune. It's great.
Do you really? That's a David thing.
No, I hate it. No, I'm kidding. Of course I do. It's fun. It's fun.
No, that's a David tune. David's the one who came up with that for us. I'm not sure where
Try not to throw up.
Yes, I love it.
I know.
It's great.
That's also a good one too. I like the whatchamacallit.
Thank you.
I like
that myself. Thank you very much.
I like your voiceovers. So you're a big star. So it's
Well, I don't know.
people don't realize that you're a big star. And now you're in a new studio. Look at your background there. That's amazing. Look at you.
I know, it's great, right?
You're
my piano.
You're the man. You're tickling the ivory, as they say.
You're tickling the ivory. Something. That's ivories.
You got to watch out. I think that could be illegal in some countries. So there you go.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go to those unfriendly places. All right.
Only the friendly places.
Gosh, Stephen, what do we chat about? The world is. You know what I don't want to do? This is what I don't want to do. I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to go down the same alleyway, the same thing, the same. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
It's tempting. I mean, my God, it's tempting. You know which alleyway I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Great. I'm glad you do, because I don't. No, I'm kidding. What should we do? Let's all right. But having said that, it'll be so much fun. So
having said that, let's complain about this.
Let's see. Right. So here's the thing. My daughter is actually getting married soon. And
congratulations.
Thank you very much. It affects me in zero ways, but no, I'm kidding. No, it does, of course. I'm very happy. But the weirdest thing is I've now gained a daughter. In case anybody doesn't know, yes, she likes ladies, and that's who she's getting married to. But the lady she's getting married to is an incredibly bright woman who sends me all kinds of thoughts, which is quite nice. The one thing I value in people above all else, well, there's a few things. One of them is honesty. Don't bullshit me. You can tell me. It's fine. You don't know, if you don't like me, great. But don't tell me you do like me and you don't. You know, something like that.
Right.
I don't like bullshit. I'm an only kid. I didn't grow up with layers and layers upon layers and schmoozing, and which is a bit of a problem when you're in media. I've got to tell you. That is an issue. And it's probably why I banged my head in media for many years, left it, did the voice thing, went back into radio. And what do you know? I've learned to schmooze and things have changed.
Okay.
But I still don't like bullshit.
Right.
That being said, she sends me these things which are really terrific. And the other day, I thought, should I bring this up? So she thought it was important to send to me, and I thought, all right. And it's this business of all this language, all these words that have been targeted and identified by your kingdom, by your new king. And congratulations, by the way.
You mean Elon Musk? Yeah, the new king.
I'm not sure which king. I don't know.
We have several.
I don't know where the one king ends and the other one starts. To be honest with you, I don't know. I'm not sure. It depends which side is facing upwards. I'm not sure.
I think that's what Melania. That's what Melania says too. Anyway, go ahead.
Great post by somebody the other day. First Lady of the U.S., Elonia Musk. Elonia Trump. Elonia Trump. I thought that was. Apparently, it got them bounced off whatever that new thing is, Twitter, X, Y, Z, whatever you want to call it.
Because we have free speech here in America.
I know you have free speech.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
We used to have a First Amendment.
Oh my God.
Now we have no First Amendment because Elon thinks he controls it all, and the media, as well as senators and congressmen, are fighting back. And I don't think Elon knows what to do. In fact, there's an article the other day, since you brought Mr. Putz up, in the FT that, a few years ago, his
Yeah.
X or Twitter, whatever the fuck it's called, was worth $1 billion. Now it's got a $44 billion valuation. And I'm thinking, like, Wall Street, we're the oldest profession. Please understand that. We are the whores. Without us, there are no whores, hookers, prostitutes, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
There are none.
True. Yeah.
Without us, you're nothing. So it's gone from a billion to 44 billion. And the FT had this beautiful article about how evaluations are all bullshit. And I just started to laugh. So because he's the emperor's right-hand man, they've got to appease him, because God forbid they don't, because, when we become a dictatorship, then they off with their heads. So I just thought that was amazing that this bullshit little nothing is worth something, only because Wall Street's scared of them, and they just sold a whole bunch of bonds. I mean, like, they're doing everything to stay in his good graces. Meanwhile, I think 13 countries have canceled Starlink. Like, they're like, yeah, fuck you, we don't like you. So I love it. We are in a dictatorship. There's another article that came out in The Economist yesterday that compares Trump and Elon to Mao and his wife. And the comparisons are strikingly
Sorry, to who and his wife? To who?
Mao. Remember Chairman Mao back in the day?
The Chinese fellow.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, nice Chinese fellow wore that very nice Mandarin jacket, the same one all the time.
Right.
So,
and his wife.
that was his wife. And that was a very interesting article. And
who's the wife in that relationship, and who's the husband with Donald and Elon?
Trump's Mao, and then the wife would be Elon, because Elon is doing the Cultural Revolution, which is what the wife did under Mao.
Okay. Just want to make sure I know.
No, I got that. Who's on top, who's on bottom, I got it. But it was a very interesting article about that. I thought that was like, that's interesting. So nobody that I speak to outside the United States, and even here, when we do business outside the United States and I talk to people, they literally just go, what the heck? I mean, like, nobody. And the New York Times this morning just came out with their head economist saying we're hinting for a recession. There was a senator yesterday that had a hearing with one of Trump's people that said, is Trump a Russian asset? And named 6 things that make him look like a Russian asset. And the guy kept going, no. And he goes, really? What about this? And the guy had nothing to say. The Trump nominee had nothing to say after that. He's like, your guy's a Russian asset. This senator is calling Trump out, saying he's a Russian asset. I loved it. It was like, mwah. So I'm waiting for Spooks or Us to do something. I don't know. Maybe they want us to fall into the Russian thing, but all those guys, no, I don't think so. I don't know.
At least you haven't thought about any of this.
No, I can't tell you. I really haven't. This just came off because you just said what you just said. It just set me off. So there you go.
You mentioned the Starlink thing, which is interesting because it's so weird, because I sympathize and I can see both sides of the argument. So obviously we've had the whole thing where Trump and Elon have spoken about all the farms being expropriated in South Africa.
Because they're up on knowledge.
Yeah. Now the weird thing is, let me just be clear about something. Let me just say this quickly. Expropriation is done throughout the world. It's not unique to South Africa. They are trying to do they mentioned the expropriation without compensation, which obviously I certainly wouldn't agree with. Just personally, I think that's nonsense. That's theft. But the last time they expropriated anything in this country was more than 10 years ago. So nothing has happened. Believe me, there are a lot of farm murders and things like that which have taken place, which I'm not a big fan of. So the thing is, I've got a foot in both camps. I can see how this would be important for some people, but I can also see how it's being abused and weaponized, which is not fair to the people who are actually experiencing it. So in other words, if I'm genuinely concerned about you, Stephen, I'm going to find out. I'm going to sit down with you, and we're going to get someone to do the minutes of the meeting, and we're going to find out exactly what your problems are. I'm going to get the full picture, the full background information, and I'm going to do it because I care about you, not because I'm going to use the bullshit you're going through to advance my causes. And that's the problem with it. Some of the things they raised, weirdly enough, with the executive orders about South Africa, I understand them. I get the concern. We have probably one of the most corrupt governments on the planet. It's bad. They are there, but here's the weird thing. This government isn't interested in color. They are green. Right. They're interested in green. Yes. It's not a black-white issue. Black and white people in South Africa have been affected by this government. So I get that. I get why. So there is a problem. There is something that they've latched onto. Fine. Then go the whole hog and find out the full picture. Instead, they've zeroed on one tiny little thing, which clearly their media people said, this is going to be good for you. This is going to stoke the flames. This is going to rock. This is going to rattle cages. It's going to rock the boat. This is going to be good for you. True. And it works well on Instagram and YouTube and media and blah, blah, blah. But it does nothing. And I know it does nothing because some of the people that they claim are being discriminated against, Afrikaans people, I happen to be friendly with them, and they're going, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? There are other issues we have. This isn't one of them. This literally isn't one of them. There are laws that are definitely racist and racial, and those are not good. But this is not the issue. There's a larger problem. We've spoken about this, Steve, where the country is using race as a tool of distraction. There's no question. They were genuinely interested in empowering people. By the way, empowering is not enriching. It's not the same thing. And this is the problem. We had a very politically expedient policy, which I get, which you know about. It's called Black Economic Empowerment. And on the surface, you go, yeah, previously disadvantaged people before 1994, right? Let's get back in there. Let's do reparations. Let's fix. Sure, absolutely. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's all be part of it. Oh, I'm not allowed to be a part of it because I'm not the right color. And so it goes. So you've had this exclusionary thing going on, this discriminatory, this thing which divides people unnecessarily. I always said, I've got friends of whatever persuasion, and I said to them, you know, the funny thing is, the white people that you should be angry with, the white racist South African people, they're either dead or they're living in Australia, the US, or the UK. The ones that stay, the ones that are here, you should be working with them. And you know, funnily enough, Stephen, all my friends agree with me. It's the government. It's the government that's dividing people. It's not the people. The people are like, let's do shit together. But we have these policies. Now, I bring that up because there are some issues there. There are some policy issues. There are laws that are very questionable. You have to so many people that look a certain way, and that's one of the reasons why Starlink, which started the thought process, that's why Starlink isn't in here. And strange enough, I can't believe I'm going to say this, I agree with Elon on that one. Why should he bring his business to South Africa when he has to give 30% of it away? For what? Because of the way you look. I've always thought that's what we were trying to get away from. It's what's here. It's not what's here. Now, and if you really want to help people, then stop stealing from the National Treasury coffers. Don't do that. And we've got a government that's done that. I'm not going to get into it. There's tons of podcasts about it. There's people that are more articulate on the issue than I am. But there are reams and reams of facts that you can access. I don't want to talk about that, but there is an issue. So the weird thing is the Trump people have used that, and may I say very successfully. It started a debate. It stirred things up. The problem is it's not going to change anything. So the white Afrikaner farmers who for some reason they singled out as being victims of genocide or needed to be assisted, that may or may not be true. But here's what's interesting. Some of the policies, the AGOA agreement, the AGOA agreement, which I think you probably know about, which gives South Africa access to American markets, tariffs, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's a beneficial thing. It's a beneficial thing. It helps farmers in South Africa access American markets. So that's something that actually helps those farmers that they want to help. Yet he is putting out orders, and there is a suggestion that agreement's going to be removed, and it's going to put those so-called white farmers in all kinds of quandary. It's going to be a quandary for them because what do they do with all the stuff they make and produce? And to be honest with you, the farmers feed this country, and they should be respected. They should be looked after. But if you're going to try and help people, you say, I want to help those guys, and then you hit them with a law or a policy or an executive order that's actually going to destroy their businesses. What are you on about? What are you doing? It means you don't know what you're talking about. You may have heard something, and it may or may not be true, but before you start putting things in that could potentially hurt a lot of people, get all your facts. That's all I'm going to say. If the facts show that your order is correct, not a problem. But I can tell you that it is not. But there are other things. There are other things that, God, I can't believe I'm saying this, Trump and his people could do to help South Africa. That's true. There are definitely things that could be done. I agree.
52nd state. Oh, sorry.
What's that?
52nd state.
Well, yeah, sure. Well, hang on now. Well, we're going to be there before Canada is. Let's just be clear about that. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that's fine. You know, if you want to help someone, you've got to be involved completely. Don't just stand by and comment on things that look weird and stupid. You go, oh, what's that guy? Yeah, but you don't know the background. This is why I'm always loath to comment on anything in the Middle East. I mean, it's so easy to take one side and inflame the situation, and you can stir shit up quickly. That's why the Middle East is gold for media. It's brilliant because you can just take one side and boom, there you go. Clickbait for months. It's brilliant, but you haven't understood anything. You haven't done any homework. You don't know what's going on. You don't know the facts. You're not involved. You think you do because you've gotten some, I don't know, some jacket cover summary, or you heard someone that's thought they saw something and that might be this, and away you go. And the next thing it becomes fact, and they make a YouTube video about it, and bang, it must be true. And then I'm going to take a flag and I'm going to go and protest somewhere, and I am doing shit. You're not doing shit. That's the problem with these things. If you're going to do something, do it properly or don't bother, because then you're going to make it worse. And there is a problem in the Middle East. There is a problem here. Shit, there's a problem where you are. There's a problem in.
There's a problem. There's a problem.
Yeah,
there's a problem all over. It's nothing's safe.
Steven, if you and your wife have a disagreement and I hear about it, and I start inserting facts in there, rumor and gossip, and I say I'm going to protest for Stephen, you may actually realize it's your fault, for instance, go, what are you doing? You don't know what happened here. And what you're doing, Roald, is you're making it worse because there's some progress that's happening here. You're taking my side. I never asked you to, because you don't know what you're doing. Now, that's a sort of a metaphorical view of what I'm trying to say. Don't get involved unless you've got all the facts, know all the information. And while you are finding out what that information is, take a humble view of what you don't know. That's what I'm saying. So, but they're not. They're not. I mean, Biden apparently is here. Hunter Biden, I don't know if you know this. Apparently he's in Cape Town. He's holidaying. I don't know if you know that.
Hey, Hunter, how you doing?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Laptop? He brought his laptop.
I heard that he was in Cape Town holiday, and of course, somebody mentioned that to Trump and his people, and he literally lost. Well, I wouldn't say he lost his shit, but he wasn't happy about it. And then he had to say, "Well, I'm gonna pull his security detail." Oh well, whatever. But then he had to insert this idea that, oh, there's horrible things going on in South Africa. Horrible. Like what, Donald? Mm-hmm. What is it? Be specific. I'm here now. There is crime. There's plenty of crime. There is rape. There is murder. Yeah, that's been like that for 25, 30 years when the country changed. Here's the weird thing that you probably don't know, Donald. It's about 1/10 of what it was 30 years ago. In the 90s, this country was blowing up. No one said anything. It was blowing up. That's why when you drive around Joburg, you'll see electric fences on every house everywhere. We had a guy who came here. I'll even mention his name. The Top Gear guys from the UK, Jeremy Clarkson and the crew, they came to South Africa. They were doing a tour many years ago, and he drove around Joburg. I mean, this is public record. He drove around Joburg, and he said, wow, the place is lovely. The weather is great. The people are fantastic. The food is cheap, and it's lovely. But what's with these electric fences? I'm fine. It's safe. Now, I would say to you it's safe. Can something happen? Sure. There are no guarantees. I can tell you what areas to avoid. I can tell you what not to do. Don't leave your window down. Be aware. But this is stuff you would tell anybody anywhere in the world, in any country. Now, do we have a particularly high murder rate? I think we probably do. Have I seen any of it? No. But I don't go to all the stupid areas. I'm careful. I watch where I am. I keep an eye out. Are all black people violent? Hell no. In fact, most of my friends are very friendly and they're frustrated by it. If you went to someone like Trump and said, what do you think? Is it a shithole country? Are all black people all killing each other? He'd probably say yes. And you go, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. And therein is the problem. He doesn't know. I don't even know everything about this place. And I live here. So, you know.
That's okay, because most Americans know nothing about America, so you're fine. Don't worry about it. But the problem is that JD Vance and they talk through their tuchus. They don't talk through their mouth. And that's has a lot to do with it. Like if you're just talking out of your ass, you're just talking out of your ass. So, you know, it's and you got and remember to your point a few minutes ago, it's all about sound bites. All they need to do is get 3 or 4 sound bites out, whether it's on YouTube or TikTok or this or that, and blah, 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 or the news, and the world's perception is, oh my God. So when people actually like watch and listen to the show, especially on the podcast, we'll get notes from people going, I didn't know South Africa was okay. I'm like, yeah, well, the guy's from South Africa. He's sitting in South Africa. You should probably know South Africa is okay. And I'm fascinated by that. People just literally take what the media says. Even when the Financial Times or New York Times or the Journal or the Economist say something, I try to fact check it somewhere else. No, I'm saying that they're not, listen, most of them are 99.9% right. There's that 0.1% you just don't know. It's always good to have like 4 or 5 reference points. So, but the president of the United States and the vice president, Dumb and Dumber, they should, when they make a statement, at least have, I would like to say 90% of their facts. I mean, most of the stuff they say is 90% wrong. So it's kind of like, all right. So now when they're talking, nobody listens.
I would say, if you're the president of the United States, you are, the job comes with the title, you are the leader of the free world. And if you don't want the job, that's fine. No one says you have to have it. But if you assume that mantle, if you go into that office and take the job and take the check or whatever that check is, but you take the title, put the little pin on and go to the White House and do whatever, there's another one that goes with that, and that is the leader of the free world. You are the leader of the free world, not the boss. It's not the same thing. You're the leader, and a leader serves people. You are an elected official. You're a civil servant. That is what you are. You're a very powerful civil servant, but there are God knows how many million people that have given you that power. You don't have that power. So you have been entrusted with that. And it is up to you, if you take on that job, you don't have to know everything. You've got access to all kinds of information. You've got intelligence briefings, blah, blah, blah. But if you don't know what you're talking about, don't talk about it. That's it. It's fine. And that's the issue. No one expects. I've always said this. I time and time again, because I've lived in the US, because I've lived in the UK, and I've traveled a lot, I know a bit more than maybe some of the people here. That doesn't make me any better than them. It just makes me more exposed to other facts. So I find myself often defending what America is about because people here don't know. They haven't been. And they say things like, oh, I bet Americans don't know where South Africa is on a map. And I go, well, tell you what, why don't you find Wyoming on a map? Good luck. All right. So shut the fuck up, because why do Americans need to know where Pretoria is and stuff? They don't need to know, which is fine. It's okay. You don't have to know. But if you start talking about things you don't know about and then inserting executive orders and strong opinions, you look like an ass, which is fine, except if you're the president of the United States. Now we've got a problem, because unfortunately or fortunately, what you say feeds into the minds of so many people who then just assume that's fact. And therein lies the danger. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you everything is perfect, but you've traveled, I've lived in several countries, and there are myriad problems here. Sure, okay. Good. And if you want to help me with them, then roll up your sleeves and come. Otherwise, stay the fuck out. It's none of your business. I'm pretty sure that if our president, who is, I'm not even going to go there, probably one of the most ineffectual leaders this country has ever had. I mean, Madiba, as we call him, is literally spinning in his grave right now, what we have. But if he went on, I don't know, we had an ambassador guy who did this recently, as you know. But if we had, I'll get to him in a moment, but if our president went on the national stage and said, "Oh, I'm just pulling shit out of the air here. We're not going to send any more meat to America or give them anything because, well, they I don't know, they're not letting, I don't know, Jewish kids wear skull caps." What the fuck? You don't know that. I don't know.
We're going to make that a short, by the way.
Huh? What's that?
We're going to make it a short and make it real that the president of America won't let Jewish kids wear beanies, or if you will, yarmulkes anymore. And that came from the South African president, and it's got to be true.
Yeah. Now, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the blowback? Now, what is
awesome.
the difference? What is the difference when you have Trump turning around and telling anybody on the world media stage who will listen that there's horrible things going on in South Africa? You, based on what? What are you talking about?
His imagination.
No fact. Yes, I'm not saying there aren't problems, but can you be specific? What is the thing that is concerning you?
Right.
No one asked you to be involved. No one. You don't have to be involved. If you want to come and visit and have a look, that's fine. And no one is saying things are perfect. I just mentioned the farm thing. I've just mentioned some of the racist laws we have. There are problems. Yes, they are. But then do something about it properly.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to help the people that you want to help. Don't just stand on some stage and say, we're going to issue an executive order and we're going to cut all the aid and we're going to do this and do that and do that and not sending any more money to South Africa. Do you know who the hell you're hurting? Those very people that you're trying to help. So you don't know what you're doing. The farming thing, for example, is my thing. The guy I want to talk about is our idiotic ambassador, and he is an idiot. Ibrahim Rasool.
I sent you the article from the FT.
I very seldom am I with people like Mark Arug. I'm not necessarily going to agree with much, but they were right. The man's an idiot. Ibrahim Rasool is an idiot. You're an ambassador. You don't have to like shit about the country you're in. It is not your place to comment on what that country's doing. That isn't what the job involves. The job involves you building bridges, building relationships, and shutting the fuck up. That's what it is. If you can't handle it, then don't become an ambassador. If you go and look up what an ambassador is, you will see that your comments and your desire just to spew shit doesn't help the case. And the problem is the stuff that he said, it doesn't even matter if it's true or not. It doesn't. What it does is it inflames the situation. It prejudices the country that you're supposedly representing, and doesn't help anyone. And ultimately, it makes things worse. So what have you done? You've stirred the pot and done what? What was your end game? To fuck up your own country? Job done. You fucking idiots. Sorry.
You shouldn't hold back on how you feel because I know your psychologist says you need to let things go. So it's important. But here's the funny thing. I'm glad you're saying so. Good. All right.
Good.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with, what he said was fine. He's an idiot. But once again, if you want to speak and you want to say something, go and say something. I mean, I understand about building bridges, but I think the problem we have today with politicians is that they all think, whether you're an ambassador or you're a president or you're the guy who goes to the president here in the United States. The problem with that is that everybody thinks they need to get their 15-second soundbite out there for whatever reason, instead of to the extent the good old days were the good old days because people couldn't, when they said stupid shit, the press would be like, we're not going to print that. You're an idiot. But now, because of social media, because of TikTok, and because of YouTube and Twitter and I don't know, all the other shit that's out there, you can literally just get on and go, boom, or you're giving a speech and people record it and then they just put it out. And then some of them edit it so you look like an idiot. So that's the problem with today. It's like you never get the full story anymore. You get this snippet, like the senator who was saying Trump could be an asset and went through all this. Someone actually sent me the clip, and I went to C-SPAN and found it the whole 15 minutes. So I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. So I mean, like, okay, thanks for sending it, but now I have to go see what it's all about because I don't know where it comes from. And I'm like, that's the issue is we live in a society today where if most people can't think past 30 seconds. So when you have to read something or watch a clip that's like 2, 5, 7, 30 minutes long, oh my God. And it's not like these people are curing cancer. They just want to get to the next clip. So stupidity is rampant. You know what I mean? And to your point earlier, yes, our president, our vice president, all the morons that they're putting in, they're all civil servants. They seem to forget that. They seem to think they're in 1930 Germany and that we are beholden to them. And it's the other way around. I think the American people forget that as well, that the government's beholden to us, not the other way around. Like we ask them, like the people are like, boom. So if one day, if 300 million people go, you know what, fuck you, we don't need you anymore. Like we don't give a shit. We'll have the local government. We need our police, we need our fire, we need our mayors. We'll pay the local taxes, but we don't want a federal government. What are you going to do? I mean, like it's this whole, and I think they forget that they're there because of us. Now, I know that they all think they're dictators and that, they're going to be 1930 Germany with some of the statements they make about freedom of speech and about protesting and all this other stuff. But at some point, the chickens do come home to roost. And I don't think that this administration gets it yet. I know, and I think we talked about this, when the Republicans are having their town hall meetings, they're getting slammed by everybody. Like they're all like, what the heck? Go ahead.
But
yes, down the hall to the left.
I'm going to say this. I've watched some of those town hall meetings, and I hear what you're saying. But I'm going to give the guy credit for being there and taking the punch.
I agree. Yeah,
because for me, that's what. If you're a politician, you should be taking it on the chin. Unlike Donald, you can't even if you even slightly disagree with him. But I want to just say one thing, which I'm not an American, but I seem to know, like you, I've told you, I seem to know more about America than a lot of Americans, which is really quite sad. Even maybe the president, which is disturbing. And I'm not saying I'm a great expert.
The Russian asset? Yes, the Russian asset.
I'm not saying I'm a great expert. But there is one thing I do know about America. There are 3 branches of government. 3, the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. How am I doing?
Yeah, so far so good.
Oh, it's my green card. Well, okay. So there's your 3 things. It was designed, in the 1790s, I think, somewhere around there, 1780s, 1790s. It was designed by literally children, the founding fathers. They were babies. They put that together to make sure there was no king, to make sure that one man couldn't just come in and start dominating. And I thought you had that guy, rightly or wrongly, but he was acting within the mandate that he's given as a judge. Even I know this. They wanted to send those immigrants back, and obviously, look, the Venezuelans or whatever, those gangs.
Right, the Venezuelans, right.
I mean, there's some nasty people, and I get why you might want to get rid of them. Sure, I'm not. That's another discussion. There seems to be a problem with it. Okay, fine, whatever. But the problem is, if a judge says, "Listen, I'm not happy with the way this has been handled. You need to bring them back, and we need to do this properly," and then you have a president who turns around and says, "Oh, we've got to impeach him." For doing what? What has he done? He's doing his job. He's literally doing his job, the description of which is more than 230 years old. You don't have to agree with him. That's the point. That's the point. You don't want a guy in office who has just got unrestrained power. That's called what did you call it? A dictator. You don't want that. It's got the word dick in there for a reason. Now, even if you love the guy, you don't necessarily want your guy, even if you love him, to feel like he can do fucking anything. You want your politicians to be nervous. You need those 3 branches of government. It's a very good system, if I may say, and it balances everything. So often you have said, "Oh, we're gonna, we headed for the last election dictatorship." I mean, you're partially joking, or maybe you're not, or maybe you're dead serious. But I do believe that the way the American system is designed, that's not going to happen because of those three branches of government. It's this constant check. Is it perfect? No. But what does worry me is when, what do you need, like the whole of the Senate, 87 votes and another 6 Democrats to impeach a judge? What a fucking waste of time. And the guy hasn't done anything that is improper. He has done his job. The thing that he was elected stroke appointed to. And tell me if I'm wrong, Stephen, they are appointed for life for that reason. So they don't have, there's nothing, they can't be influenced. They're just like brickwork. Boom. You can't get rid of me. That's who I am. Make sure you put the right guy in. That's another discussion. But in he goes, and he does his job. And then you have the president. It's quite dangerous when you have the president saying, I'm going to impeach him. And imagine if they get that right. That means then maybe you're right. The gig is up. There's a whole branch of government which will be eroded. The judiciary.
Right, but Roosevelt tried to impeach a judge that didn't go the way he wanted it to go. And the Supreme Court was like, no, that's not how this reads. Roberts from the Supreme Court said to Trump, what Roberts said to Trump from the Supreme Court was, no, Mr. Trump or President Trump or whatever he calls him, you're not, because he did his job. It doesn't work that way. So it's nice to see the Supreme Court actually get a set of balls, because I know they all suck his, you know what. So it's good to see the Supreme Court actually going, no, it doesn't work that way. Now, the judges, which is really funny, the judicial is the one who's keeping everyone in line. There's another judge who said Elon Trust, I think, broke the constitutional law with his firings and whatever he's doing at Doge. He said, because they're not appointed by the people, and what they're doing, you need to be appointed by the people. So now the judicial is going after Doge, going after Elon, and all these other people. So I'm finding it interesting that the checks and balances there. Now, there's still people that, oh, Trump is great. That's good. We're going into a recession. According to the New York Times, we'll be there shortly. And everybody like me that has a clue, we already knew that. So he's not making things better. He's making it worse. And a little bit of pain is fine, but you can't run on, we're going to make it better day one. No, it would be like, it takes 6 months to a year. They haven't really done anything except disrupt the running of our government. Another judge said everyone that was fired at USAID has to be brought back, even for temporary, because it was done unconstitutionally by Musk. So everything that they've done, they've literally screwed the pooch. And this goes back to what I've said on this show, Lost Dollar, and some of the others. If you would have brought in somebody with a brain, some IQ points, not the South African idiot, and you would have said, like you said, and they would have said, we want to make government more efficient, clean it up. And he did exactly what I said. First of all, they went A, B, C, D and stop. They didn't go all the way to Z. You go into USAID and go, let me see all the money we're spending. You can go line by line and go, no, yes, no. And then go, great, we've cut out, I'm making up a number, 3 billion, 10 billion, whatever the number is. How many people do we really need now to run this department? Oh, great. We have 1,300. We only need 1,000. Get rid of the 300. Well, you want to go to Social Security next? Let's go to Social Security. And if you did it properly, like you would do it at a real company, not his make-believe Twitter bullshit where he's like, look how great I am. I cut the workforce by 80%. Yeah, good for you. Nobody gives a shit. If you would do it properly, and over the 6 to 18-month period, you would report back to the American people with real facts, not make-believe facts on your site, people would be like, they did a great job. They did this, they did that. But they didn't. They did it to make Russia happy. I'm going to go with the Russian asset thing because I think that senator was great. But they did it to make everyone else happy and make the oligarchs happy. And you're pissing off, and I keep saying this, 300 plus a million people. And when they want to take a picnic, you're fucked. And they don't seem to catch that drift yet. I think the town hall meetings, and I say kudos to the Republican, whether they're the congressmen or senators that are going and doing it. Kudos to you, even though Mike Johnson says don't, because Mike Johnson's a pussy. But anyway, I give credit to them going to listen to their constituents, even if they can't even speak. I think they need to start, and I've seen some of the videos and the full videos or stuff on C-SPAN. I think they need to stop with how wonderful the president is and say, instead of saying, if I was a Republican right now and I went to a town hall, I'd literally start with, I know you're going to yell at me. So please let me just say, like, I'm so-and-so, I'm your representative. What are the issues? And before you start yelling, can you just all take your time, come up to the microphone? We're here for the next 5 hours or whatever it is. and individually tell me what the issues are. Don't yell, and let us see what I can or cannot do. And then if somebody says you just suck, then I'd even say, listen, if you're going to tell me that I suck the president's cock, that's great. And I'm not going to do anything. That's wonderful, but still tell me what the issues are. Let me see what the issues are.
You know,
And
Steve,
a lot of the problems is they're fucking with the Social Security. So, a lot of these people have older people, and they're the ones, those in the veterans are the ones at these meetings that are literally shouting them down. And what the Republicans don't get is that this isn't 1930s Germany. This is still the United States. And these people that are annoyed with them and that want to tar and feather them come from an era where the government protected you and loved you. And it's not the era where 20-year-olds think it'd be cool to live under a dictatorship era. So these senators and congressmen on the Republican side need to actually shut the fuck up, listen to their constituents, and they may have to go back and go, we have a problem. Because the midterm elections, unless there's martial law, I think you're going to see Democrats control everything except the presidency.
Okay, a couple of things I want to say to that. First of all, just a side note, what is with that White House press secretary? Is she actually real?
Yeah, she's real. She's just an idiot. I read an article. Somebody went to university with her.
Oh,
And she said she's just an idiot.
She's like that I don't know, class captain or whatever the fuck it is that just brings the teacher apples and tells everybody how great it is and just stomps around. And I will be, what the fuck is with her? Mm-hmm. She's so. I've watched some of the briefings and I go, this is the media. They're supposed to ask. That's what they do. Journalists ask questions, and they are very often questions that may or may not tie in with how big the president's cock is. I mean, seriously. And if you don't like it, do you have to behave like a 5-year-old child when they're trying to make a point all the time? There's no suggestion that anyone is allowed to question anything. You can ask a question, but don't question. And I go, is this a briefing or is it an announcement? That's what bothers me about it. It's such bullshit. It's not even the content of what's being asked. It's just the tone. I mean, Stephen, you're a dad. I'm a dad. Your kids disagree with you. Your kids shout.
I'm a dad? Oh, shit. All right. Let's get to Vietnam. I'll be home soon, kids. Anyway, go ahead.
But I'm saying that you're a boss and you got workers. But what I'm saying is if someone disagrees with you, if you are in a position of leadership or authority, you're there because you're supposed to have a more level head, more experience, more knowledge. You can see a bigger picture. For you to jump in the trenches with the people, I mean, it's like you've seen the meme or whatever it is, with the guys trying. I think it's a woman, man, doesn't matter. Upset with their kid, hassling them in the store, moaning, crying, and they join them on the ground. And the kid doesn't know what to do, and that's funny. But that's exactly what she's doing. She's saying, "Well, answer that question," because I'm a journalist. I'm trying to find out what's going on. I don't know. You're supposed to brief me. It's a White House briefing. I'm not going to say, "Oh, what's her name, Carolyn or whatever the fucking name."
I have no idea. The blonde chick.
Can I just say? And she would love this. Can I just say that I think the president is looking so good today? Wouldn't you agree? Yes, you're absolutely right. Jesus, what? Fuck, that's what it is. It's a pep talk or a company. It's like a motivational talk. Like, isn't the president great? No, that's not what it is. Not at all. Even if I agreed with him, I'd want to check things with him. I want to check things. Does he know this? Does he know that? What did he say? It's extraordinary to me. I just watch this and go, grow up, woman, or get someone that's older than 5 mentally. These are trained journalists, apparently. That was the one thing I want to say. The second thing is, I want to get into this the Canada thing in a minute. This is as you were describing the people trying to fix the government, and this applies to any country, by the way, and they're messing it up. And you said that the judge is saying, no, that's wrong, that's constitutional, blah, blah, blah. What you have, I love my metaphor. So this is what you have. It's, imagine you're a guy who's learned some mechanical stuff on YouTube, or you learned how to fix an engine on TikTok, right? Because you saw a guy changing a spark plug. Now you are a mechanical engineer, right? That's what you are. You are now, in your mind, you have watched a TikTok clip of a guy changing a spark plug, and you now, mate, you are now a mechanical engineer, and you are going to fuck with this car from head to toe. You're going to pull shit out and replace things. What about a headlight? I want the headlights to be brighter. Should we just put an iPad in you just shove a thing in the car? Like, they've got those lovely electronic displays or touch. Let's just put an iPad in there. What do you mean it has to be wired into the electronics of the car? What electronics? Oh, it doesn't matter. No one will notice. I'll just shove it in there. Put some tape in there, some duct tape. We'll duct tape that in there. All right. Let's change the seats. Do I know anything about upholstery? No, but I'm going to do it anyway because I know about cars. And so we go. So we start changing things. That's what they've done. So eventually, if you allow their work to stay, this car is going to stop. It's going to crash and burn. And that's what's going on. So you've got your judges who are mechanical engineers going, you can't just take that out because that's how the car goes. It's going to stop. It's going to blow up if you take out, I don't know, you don't think it needs spark plugs. It does, actually. The fan in the front that cools the engine, oh my God, yes, it does use power. And if you take it out, the car will blow up. Yes, but it's using power. So let's take it out. This, I feel, is a metaphor what's going on. Now, that being said, if you want to improve the car, then you get a mechanical engineer who goes, all right, let's look at the car in its entirety and let's go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Right, the seats are a couple of inches too high. Let's bring them down a bit. Okay, is that going to affect the rest of the car? No. All right, fine. Can we take some of the panels out? Yeah, and we can put another material in there. Okay, so that's not going to affect the way the car works. It actually might streamline it a bit. And we careful. We go through. It takes a long time. It's not as flashy, but eventually after 6 months to a year, you've got this beautiful, somehow that car is just a different beast. It's still the same car, but it's using a little less gasoline, petrol, power, whatever you want, and it's going a little faster. It's a little lower. It's a little more sporty. You haven't done anything major, but this car is a different beast because you know what you're doing. You can't just change the lights because the lights, you might affect where they shine and blind people. So you've got to know if you change a bulb in the car, it's got to be angled down so it doesn't blind. Little things like that. So that ultimately the car that you end up with is in fact a better car. Otherwise, this car is going to just piss everybody off. It's going to break down, and it's the whole thing is going to fall apart. And what you're going to do is the things that you need, you're going to remove them, and you won't be able to bring them back because you will have broken the car. You will have broken the car. So you can't fire the people that work in the nuclear power stations. What is wrong with you? Anybody with common sense knows that, oh shit, we need them, because they haven't thought about it. From a media point of view, it looks good if you just cut him. Yeah. And if I am an uneducated voter, I go, shit, look at him. He's cutting stuff and he's great. Yes! But what do I know? I'm just this dumb voter who voted for this wanker that comes from here, who's living there now. Good luck with him. And
Thank you.
You're welcome. And he is, not only is he hoodwinking you, he's hoodwinking himself. And I said on a show recently, I said, you know what? All this trouble that we've got, and when I say we, I don't mean me, because I consider myself, I've got different citizenships, but when I say we, I mean South Africa. And I said, as a country, we've got this issue now with America, which, it's not surprising. We've aligned with some interesting people, which is troubling. America's a big trading partner. Why would we be pissing them off? All right. So we've done that, and we've annoyed people. So this is what we should do. All right. There's a new guy. There's a new sheriff in town. Now, instead of insulting him, and as tempting as that might be, don't call him orange. Don't call him it. Don't do that. If you're smart, if you're a diplomat, if you're an ambassador, what do you want for your country? What do you want for the people that elected you? You want better. You don't have to agree with the person you're talking to. Not at all, right? You say, right, Don, you're the man. You go over there. I'm just saying, this is how politics works. And you say, listen, oh, can you have Elon in? Because, hey, he's from our part of the world. Great. We'll bring you some nice meat because damn, the meat here is good and it's cheap. We have a meeting. Or you come here, we'll feed you. We'll come and look at some lions and have a great time and feed the guy and play some golf and play the fucking game. And when he gets here with his wife, Elonia, right?
Oh, yeah.
When he gets here, you sit him down and you say, listen, guys, President Trump, thank you for coming. Elonia, I just want to say, on behalf of the South African people, the entire country, we love you, man. You're good. You're fine. You're done. That's it. That's all you have to say. Done. He will chop his cock up for you at that point. He will do anything for you. All he wants you to say is you love him and you are good. That is who you have. That is the person that is wandering around and cutting up your whatever department and chopping things. That's the guy that's running things. That's the guy who has unresolved father, mother, life, bully issues. I'm just saying, yes, efficiency is good. Yes, it is. As you said, Stephen, you need someone with a brain, someone who knows what they're doing, not some wanker who just wants to fuck around with a car. You need a mechanical engineer. News Alert or whatever, he isn't that person. He isn't that person. And he is fucking loving all the attention. I mean, his eyes are lighting up. I saw him with that thing where they were flogging cars, or what do you call it, hawking cars on the White House lawn.
Oh yeah, on the White House lawn. Trump's the car salesman.
Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? And then I thought, actually, this is a good look for the two of them, because that's what that is. You've got two.
That's their new job.
I don't want to be disparaging to car salesmen, because I haven't actually done that job, but I know people who do it, and there's actually quite a skill to it. It's quite something. And I looked at these two guys and I thought, you guys are just wannabe car salesmen. You just want people to love you and look at my flashy car and look how great I am. And yes, Don, you're the greatest. Yes, Elon, you're the greatest. I'm not sure who the biggest narcissist is, but hey, there you go. You guys, whoa, big cocks. Yeah. And it's I know, right? It's extraordinary.
Tesla keeps losing money. Tesla keeps losing money every day. Elon lost 125 billion the other day. So there you go.
You know what, Stephen, the funny thing about all of this is it's so fucking unnecessary. None of this is necessary. We want better shit for ourselves, no matter what country you're in. You just want, I don't know, you want an affordable life. You want security. You don't want people taking your jobs, whatever. But if you don't study and educate yourself, the people will take your job because you're not qualified for it. Unless you're Elon. But I'm just saying, it fascinates me. This whole thing is totally unnecessary. But I circle right back to something I said many podcasts or whatever this is times ago. We hear now because we failed. We failed to listen to people. We allowed this bullshit to boil over on the stove. And now what you've got, there was a thing in the UK called Brexit, which you know of. And there was somebody who said something very, very astute. And they said it's not that necessarily the British people wanted to leave the EU. That wasn't it. That wasn't necessarily why they voted for Brexit. They wanted to throw, what did she say? A political hand grenade down the table and watch shit blow up. Because they were tired of being ignored, not listened to, being told who they were was wrong. And I will say, from the time I was in the US and years after, and maybe a few years before, rightly or wrongly, there was a big chunk of the country that said, I'm of whatever description, this is what I believe, this is who I look like, and no one is listening to me. Are they right? It doesn't matter. That's what they felt like. And now their guy is in charge with his bitch, and they are running things. And I have to say, based on the posts I see, they couldn't be happier. They're saying, we'll take the pain because they are cutting the budgets. We're all going to be wealthy again. Why should we send money around the world? Everything is going to be great. I just want to answer that question. I'll tell you why you send money around the world. because it's not to help people. Newsflash, foreign aid, managed properly, is not designed to help other countries. You fucking idiot if you think it is. It's not designed for that. I know this from an American perspective because I know people who are in those positions. What it's designed to do, back in the day when they started the shit, is to maintain American influence around the world for a national security point of view. That's what it's supposed to be for. There are bases in Japan, not for the Japanese. There are bases in Germany, not for the Germans. It's to maintain, you can call it world police, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, there it is. It maintains influence. It maintains that position of authority. It maintains that position of credibility. Otherwise, America just becomes any other country. I'm just saying that's what separates America from every. The reason why it is a superpower is not because of the money. It's because of the global influence it has. Now, if you start withdrawing all these tentacles of influence, which really, if you go back in history, were designed to serve American interests, which I absolutely agree with, by the way, then those interests will not be served. Then you don't know what the fuck is going on around the world. And it's a problem. Because then you've got a lot of toys. You've got a $19-20 trillion economy that everybody wants to, this is how people are, they want to break down and destroy. Let's say you have that view, because apparently Canada's trying to destroy America. It's extraordinary. So you go, no, I'm going to go back in my room with all my nice toys. People will want them and they will come after it. That's what people do. Human beings are like that. However, if you've got all those little things, those little tentacles of influence, which you can call foreign aid, whatever the fuck you want to call it, then you still gonna have a problem, but you are seen as a world strength.
Yeah.
But if you don't, so it's the same thing as I had an argument with a guy in a restaurant once where the service was bad. And by the way, I will say, American service in restaurants is good. You may not think so, Stephen, but compared to here, it's phenomenal. So I had experience there when I lived in the States. Once or twice, things didn't go right. The guy would say to me, not a problem, sir, the meal's on the house, and here you are, sorry for that. Because he understood that I didn't come there for the food. It's not about the food. It's about the experience of being with your brand. I want you back in my restaurant. I want you to come back. And you're going to tell people how they handled my problems so well, and then other people will come. If you think the restaurant business is about food, you're very mistaken. What I'm saying is, it's the experience. I can cook the shit at home, but I'm too lazy. I take my wife out. We need to eat that meal together. So there was an American guy running a restaurant here that I went to. I remember
By the
before
way,
I moved.
this will be your last story because we got to go after this.
I know. I won't. So he was running a restaurant here, and something was wrong with my order. And he came over, and I could hear the American chap and chatted. And I said, "Oh, I'm going to be moving then." We had a long chat. So I remember him very well. He was a manager of a restaurant. Anyway, at one point, something went wrong with my order. So he came along and he picked it up and he says, "What seems to be the problem?" I said, "No, I ordered this and I got that." He said, "Not a problem. Are you happy with everything else on the plate?" And I said, "Sure, but I didn't want that," and blah, blah, blah. He says, "Cool." So he said, "I'm going to box this up for you." He went and pulled one off the line. So I didn't have to wait 10, 15 minutes for a new meal. He pulled one off the line. So I had a new meal straight away. He boxed this up. He said, "You can take that home, sir. That's yours. And by the way, this on the house, really sorry." Fucking hell. Yeah. I'm still talking about it 20 years later. And I just thought, that's what I loved about it. And I had that experience in the States. I didn't have it here. And I'm getting back to my point. You've got to look at what foreign aid is. And it's not about saving money. It's about exerting influence. And I do agree, though, you can't just be dropping money around the world. You need to follow that money and go there and see what's being done with it. Because the worst thing you can do with foreign aid, USAID included, USAID, whatever. I call it USAID because it's literally aid. But anyway, everyone says, no, I'm going to say USAID. Fuck's sakes, it says aid. There it is. Okay. And all these charity organizations that America has, I will say this. If you're going to go and dump money into third world countries around the world, fucking follow it. Send someone there. Take a team. Don't just give money to the local governments. Where do you think that money's going to go? Are you shitting me? Any moron can figure that out. Oh, that's right. If you haven't done your homework, you wouldn't know that. because you think all kinds of shit is happening in the country. So that's what I'm saying. By all means, watch where the money is being spent, but don't pull it back. But at the same time, when you send the money out, I said this on the talk show when I was there. I said, when you send the money out, follow it, go there, make sure you know what's happening with it, and maintain a watchful eye over it. Otherwise, don't give it to them. You need to see where that money is going. You need the receipts. If they're not happy with it, then by all means, don't send the money. But as long as you know what's happening, because money is power. When you give money to countries, when you give money to other people, you're giving them power. And you need to be clear what they're doing with that power. Because it's like giving a kid a gun, and he doesn't know what to do with it. And money is the same. So I agree, funnily enough, with some of the idea that Trump has, we shouldn't be sending all this money around the world. Yes, right. without checks.
I agree with that, but the way they did it is wrong.
Stephen, right. That's what's missing. Yeah. It's not the foreign aid thing. It's where's this money going? And then he reeled up a list of things that were happening. Well, whose fault is that? You've sent money around the world and you haven't followed up on it. Now they're using it for whatever. True or not.
And a lot of that was wrong. But a lot of that was wrong.
But it doesn't matter, Stephen. My point is that's on the person giving the money.
Right. I agree.
Anyway, that's what I'm trying to say. By all means, follow the money. Give the money or don't give the money. But if you send the money out, follow it. You need to keep that influence. You need that because my fear is, I don't think this will happen. But if those tentacles of influence are withdrawn, America just becomes one of those other countries. Who's going to be that? Who's going to replace that? That worries me. There's a power void, there's a power vacuum.
Russia and China will replace us. And that's it for this week. We'll leave everybody on suspense like one of those Saturday morning cartoons. Anyway, we'll see you guys next Thursday live, rebroadcast on Friday morning. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and we'll figure out on next week's show who's going to take America's place as we go into isolationism. And there you go. All right, my friend, it's always good to see you. Everybody, thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you all next week. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, Stephen.
Thank you so much for listening to this Roald Woods, Rob Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. You know, this podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and do take care.